The more comments I read, the more I realize most people have no idea what socialism is. Aside from the constant stream of anti socialism propaganda we're fed through every information hole in existence, one of the primary reasons for this lack of understanding of what socialism is lies with socialism itself. Socialism was never conceived as a one size fits all economic system. It doesn't have a set form that you can just impose on a nation's economy. It doesn't dictate a specific political organization. Quite the contrary. At its core, socialism is a set of guiding principles and practices intended to help nations achieve a more equitable and stable society on their own terms and according to their own needs. It's probably most accurate to think of socialism as a toolkit that will be utilized differently by different countries. This is why Soviet socialism is different than Chinese socialism, is different than Cuban socialism, is different than Vietnamese socialism, and why, if we were to have socialism in the US, it'd look different than everything that's come before it. What unifies all socialisms, if you will, are a couple of essential values. One is the abolition of private property. Abolishing private property doesn't mean we can't have cool stuff. What it means is private entities, for example, a company or a billionaire, can't own massive amounts of land, water, energy, homes, food, and other resources we all need to live. And by the way, why shouldn't a private entity own what nature has provided for free? Why should they be allowed to own far more than they personally need for the express purpose of extracting more money out of others? Socialism says they shouldn't. No one should be able to accumulate wealth obscenely beyond what they need to live a happy and healthy life. So if a private entity doesn't own the land, water, factories, energy, and other resources we need to live, then who would? That brings us to a second important essential socialist principle. The working class owns the means of production. How can we collectively own the means of production? We set up some sort of democratic system that allows the people to have a say in how resources are used and that holds leaders accountable directly to the people. What would that democratic system look like? Well, that would be up to each nation to decide based on their history, culture, and needs. And it would likely change over time as the needs and environment of countries change. So no, socialism is not the government does everything and tells you what to do. It is not a dictatorship. It is not we can't have anything cool anymore. Socialism is an ideal to work toward, an ideal where control of resources is taken from the few and given to the working class so that we can exercise more control over our lives, so that we, and particularly those of the global south, can no longer be exploited for someone else's gain.